Hey guys, and welcome to Just for the Record. I'm glad you made it here. Today we're going to talk about something that may seem obvious to some of you, but maybe some others are new to that topic, so we're going to discuss it. And that topic is sleeves and vinyl records. Inner sleeves, outer sleeves, everything. First of all, let's talk about the more important thing, which is inner sleeves. And when I'm referring to inner sleeves, I mean the sleeves that the record itself is in, not the cover. First of all, what kind of inner sleeves are there and what to avoid? Well, there are a few, actually plenty. The most well-known one is presumably this one, which mostly comes with new records. It's just plainly white paper, nothing else, just white paper. That's bad. I'm gonna cover why it's bad in a second. Then there are like those milk paper ones, at least in Germany you would call them milk paper, which have a nicer, flatter surface, but still meh. And I'm gonna cover why. And then there are about two types that you should use. And those are those simple ones. Looks like a paper sleeve first glance, but it isn't. There is some kind of a plastic foil, plastic coverage on the inside, which is transparent, which is nice. You can get them in plenty of colors. You can even get them in only plastic, but I prefer those. But why shouldn't I use one of these and should spend money on something that I already get when buying a record? And that's fairly easy. If we're talking about those usual paper sleeves, for example, they tend to scratch your record. Not bad. At least if they're kind of clean, it's not bad. But over time, it may get noticeable. So you should stay away from them, just as easy as it gets. And what's more important is they produce static energy. If you put a record in the sleeve and out again, in again, out again, you get what I mean, you will produce static energy. And static energy makes your record collect dust. It's this crackling noise that you hear when you touch something like a static loaded record for the first time. It's the same energy that you produce when you're running over a carpet with socks and try to electrocute your sister, which I did when I was younger. Yeah, then those are the worst. And then there are those milk paper ones, which are a little better because they have a smoother surface and stuff like that. But still, you shouldn't bother with them. Go for these. I know they are expensive. I mean, you will pay around 10 to 20 euros for 50 of those, which can be expensive. I mean, think about 200 records in this shelf. Plenty of double LPs, so you can guess how many records those are. 250, maybe 275. And yeah, you know, we've reached about 100 euros just for sleeving. And that's just the inner sleeve. By the way, if your record comes like this one, for example, which is a Gorillaz record, Demon Days, with a very, very nice looking cover, like this, for example, a record sleeve, obviously. This was the sleeve. But on the inside, it was cardboard, and that's bad. So I still keep this, obviously, because it looks great. I mean, we've got 2D on the front. But I have re-sleeved it in a black one, which I think fits the record more. And then in most records, you will have the space to put in both of them, and you will be fine. I would tend to keep all of those, well, special sleeves, and at the end, just for a purpose of keeping the value of the record, because it is value keeping that you're doing here. On the topic of keeping a value, outer sleeves. Well, first of all, they are cheaper, so I don't really see a reason not to buy them. Second of all, you know, the cover looks very, very good. And if I put it in here multiple times, if I lay it on the table, it's gonna get scratchy. It happens. And it's gonna get flaky and stuff is gonna break out of it. That's just happening. That's just happening to all of our records. So why don't invest in some of these? You know, there are a few different kinds of those sleeves, and just one of them is very horrible. These, for example, this is a thicker one, which is a little wider, which I tend to use for double LPs like Demon Days. And this is the even more cheaper one, which is thinner and just is a little bit more snug. And I like to use those on usual single LPs. So yeah, and I think I do have one which had one of those glued on. I think it's this BB King one somewhere around here, here it is. I've re-sleeved it. This is a BB King Amiga record. out of Eastern Germany when it still was its own country. Funny story about Amiga records. They actually, because in the eastern part of Germany until 1990 was part of the Soviet Union, and they hadn't any informations about Western stars, like BB King, for example. So you would see this as a as somebody living there, want to buy this, see like, oh, it looks interesting, but who the hell is BB King? And on all of those Amiga records, there are texts of that are describing the guitarist and the musician that you're buying something of, so you know what you're buying. But this one has been, to get back to the topic, this one has been in one of those glue sleeves, like sticky ones. You fold them around here and they stick to the side, and this is what happened here. Now my problem is, it still is sticky, so I have to do this before I can remove it, because the entire downside here has got glue on it, looks very bad, and like I said, still is sticky. Stay away from them, they aren't good, but everything else, buy it, no problem. I know it sounds expensive and it sounds a little snobby, but at the end you should really, well, sleeve your records. Because if you, in 10 or 20 years, decide to sell this collection, you could think that in the next years there isn't enough resources and not enough factories to produce as many vinyl records as people want. So if you buy them now, they won't lose value. That's a great thing. And for something that keeps its value, go and spend a little bit and upgrade. Just a little tip. But at the end, if you don't want different record sleeves, don't buy them. You know, you're not hurting anybody, but it's just a little hint I can give you. All right, it was a pleasure to have you here, guys. See you the next time.